Get a chance to feel what it's like to be led through a course by a dog guide at Dog Guide School located in Oakville, Ontario. Lions Foundation of Canada trains dog guides to assist Canadians with a wide range of disabilities. With 7 programs in place, Canadians with disabilities are offered the opportunity to find greater independence, mobility, and safety through the help of a dog guide. Depending on the program, dog guides are trained to perform a set of basic skills that are useful to all handlers. However, some of their training is also tailored to meet the specific needs of their future handler. In the final stage of the training, the client and dog guide train and live together at the Oakville facility for 2 to 4 weeks. This helps to ensure that the new working team develops a bond and prepares them for their next step, returning home. These 7 programs are Canine Vision. This is for people who are blind or visually impaired. Number 2, Hearing, for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Number 3, Autism Assistance, for children who have autism spectrum disorder. 4, Service for people who have a physical or medical disability. 5, Seizure Response, for people who have epilepsy. 6, Diabetic Alert, for people who have diabetes with a hypoglycemic awareness. 7, Facility Support, for professional or agencies assisting individuals in traumatic situations. The mission of Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides is to empower Canadians with disabilities to navigate their world with confidence and independence by providing dog guides at no cost to them and supporting each pair in their journey together. From bidding to training with a lifetime of follow-up services, each dog guide team costs approximately $35,000. The foundation relies on donations to provide these special matches and does not receive any government funding. Continue to fight. Forward.
Now with Willis by my side, I now can live independently. Having a dog guide really has transformed and improved my life.
Now that Manny's with me, I always know that somebody's there when I have a seizure. It makes me feel really safe when I'm on my own. He alerts to my seizures by barking, and it's always good to know that there's somebody there. They're a very special dog.
With Hastings, we were always worried about him being unable to be himself or to be confident enough to go out in public or to excel at school. And now with Manny there to reassure him, it's really allowed him to reach his full potential. He's a great assistance for Hastings and just makes the quality of our lives so much better.
There are many avenues one could look at in terms of therapy or treatment for a child with autism, but in our heart we knew that there was something else. And once we found out about the Autism Assistance Program through Dog Guides Canada, we knew immediately that was something that we needed to pursue. The bond between Cash and Matthew is very unique. Cash watches over Matthew, and that gives us a sense of security and safety because we know that Matthew is tethered to Cash. Before Cash came into our lives, Matthew spent many hours of the day in a very anxious state where emotions are very, very high. So what Cash does is he provides that calming influence. we are able to go out together as a family rather than having one parent stay at home. This gives us perhaps a little bit more sense of a normal life than we had before. Cash is this added component to our family to just give us all another sense of life and encouragement and hope for the future.
Lions Foundation of Canada provides 6 different kinds of dog guides: service dog guides, hearing ear, canine vision, seizure response, autism assistance, and diabetic alert. Diabetic alert dog guides are trained to help people who have type 1 diabetes with hypoglycemic unawareness. By sensing a change in their handler's breath, they're able to detect a drop in their handler's blood sugar and alert them. These dog guides are also trained to fetch a kit so that their handler can test their blood sugar levels and take glucose tablets or eat something sweet if needed. Their ability to detect and react to hypoglycemic episodes helps their handler avoid loss of consciousness and subsequent life-threatening effects. All dog guides spend the first year of their life living with a foster family, learning basic manners and being introduced to various social environments. They then return to Lions Foundation School for 4 to 6 months and learn skills that will assist their future handler. Once they complete their training, they are matched with their new handler, who comes to the school to train with them for 1 to 4 weeks. The end result is a working team, with each dog guide helping to provide greater safety, mobility, and independence daily. Each dog guide costs approximately $25,000 to raise and train, which is why fundraising initiatives and donations are essential to enabling the Foundation to continue to meet the growing demand for dog guides and provide them to Canadians at no cost. With no government funding, the Foundation relies on the generosity of individuals, Lions clubs, service organizations, and corporations to provide necessary funding. One important source of funding is the Pet Value Walk for Dog Guides. The largest fundraiser of its kind in Canada, the walk takes place in more than 200 communities across the country, with 100% of the proceeds going towards the 6 dog guide programs. The Lions Foundation provides the broadest range of services that dog guides have been proven to assist. With your support, in the future, the Lions Foundation can continue to develop new ways for dog guides to change lives.
Walker's also trained, Ward is also trained, that if I was walking down the street and he picks up the curb and he will stop and wait there, and if it's, I tell him to go ahead, and if it's safe, he will go ahead. And I went ahead once and I got halfway across the street and a car came by and blew the intersection, blew the crosswalk, and Warden came across in front of my legs and stopped me, so I've been going farther ahead. And as the van went by, I felt the wisp. I felt the wisp of the vehicle going by, and I actually think I got clipped by the mirror because it spun me a little bit. But anyway, they are trained to do that, and I'm very thankful for that. We're going to walk out here in front of you so you can kind of see what's going to go on. Gordon, sit down. Gordon, when you sit down. This is history. Now, I do know that there are a lot of people in here, if Linda Bolzer gave you one of her chocolate cookies, it's so good. I bet you if I put this in front of you, if I put one of Linda's cookies in front of you, you couldn't do what this dog does. Watch this. Sit down. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it. And the reason they teach him the leave it trick is so that when he's walking down the sidewalk, he will not sniff at all the gum wrappers, the coffee cups, the hamburger that may be left on there, or gum or whatever it may be. But they are taught to leave it. And since I can't see what he's doing, I'm just counting. So, Ward, go ahead. You can have it. Go ahead.
buddy for the first time. When they come into the room and they start jumping on you and wanting to give you lots of love right away, that's the best part. I would definitely tell them to apply, to look into it, because the difference in my life that these dogs have made is just extraordinary. The dogs come in with unconditional love, they want to work, they want to do their job, and it's just life-changing.
Is a relatively new client with us, and I'm going to ask, what does Echo do for you? Can you help everyone understand?
So basically, Echo alerts me to sounds that I can't hear with or without my hearing aid. My hearing aid, I have a cochlear implant. It's not a full solution, and I don't wear it all the time. So if somebody knocks on my door, if my phone rings, if my kitchen timer goes off, Echo alerts me to those things. And not only does she alert me to things, she also helps me feel safe in the world. Crossing the street, walking down the street, being in class, going to work, she helps me feel safe, and she not only helps me with my hearing, but helps me be there and be confident alone.
Is I would like to personally thank each and every one of you from all over our country for being part of the Lions Foundation and raising money to help people like myself and many others have an animal as wonderful as this little girl right here. Her name is Rosalind, and she's amazing. She tells me if my blood sugar is high or low, and it's a constant thing. I'm not sure Rosalind really likes me. I think she loves the fact that I give her food all the time when she tells me my sugar is high or low, which is pretty amazing. So for me, for my story, about 7 years ago, I had a car accident which kind of changed my life. And within that change was I no longer can sense if my blood sugar is high or low. I just have no idea. Now, with technology, I am able to wear something called a continuous blood glucose monitor, which is very helpful. However, this little thing right here, she knows 30 minutes, 40 minutes, especially before my sugar goes low, she starts to alert me. So it's really exceptional to see. I guess I must apologize because my sugar is perfect today. So like Rosalind's not going to be jumping on me right now, but if any of you are diabetic, she might tell me that your sugars are messed up. So I'll try and isolate who it is if you're not sure, but that won't happen. I'm sorry about that. She'll just tell me, not you guys. But yeah, so 7 years ago, I realized I could no longer tell if my blood sugar is high or low, and my doctor had suggested that a dog guide, a diabetic alert dog, might be right up my alley, might be able to help me out. My kids were pretty young at that point. I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. So my wife at the time was concerned that, Dad might not know if his sugar is low, and I might come home and the kids, might have something that had happened to them. So getting a dog guide became pretty important for me anyway. And again, I can't stress this enough, how important it is that each and every one of you are. And when you go back to your respective towns and your Lions Club, you get to tell all of your members about this exact place right here in Oakville, Ontario, because you guys are changing lives of a lot of people. So God bless you for doing that, and we really, truly appreciate it. Again, I'm sorry I can't give you an example of Rosalind alerting me, so maybe I should have a chocolate bar or something. Right? If we want to really...
She notices people that are around me that I might not hear. She notices cars and bikes that I also may not hear because I like listening to music, so sometimes I turn my hearing aid off to listen to music, and she's there, she's my extra pair of ears.
The reason being is when we place our facility support dogs, they're with an organization that are helping individuals deal with traumatic situations. And so Journey's not just matched to help with one person, Journey's matched with this organization to help as many people that come into the Halton Police Station and the police officers that are working with those individuals. So Journey has a very big job. So Kathleen, welcome.
Thank you.
What made your organization apply to dog guides? What made your organization apply to dog guides?
Okay, so we work with victims of high crime and tragic circumstances. So Victim Services has been around for more than 25 years, but we knew that we needed something more. I don't know if you've ever been a victim, but it is really scary for victims to have to come into the police station and report what happened to them, especially when it comes to personal things like sexual assault and domestic violence, which is very high in our community. So one of the things with the victim service workers is we are not allowed to go in during their disclosure, because that makes us a disclosure witness, and then we would be taken to court also. And since we can't take notes, and we have, I don't know, 1,000 victims a year that we deal with, we're not going to remember what happened in that room, right? So we decided we would bring someone, a dog in, to help calm the clients. And dogs can't tell secrets, so they can actually go into the disclosure. So our victims are offered Journey when they come in to make a disclosure, and they have two choices. They can meet with her before or after, or they can have her in the disclosure meeting, right? Journey's very calm in there. She stays very quiet. She sits up on the couch with them, and they kind of rub her head on her back the whole time they're there. And I've never had a negative comment about Journey and her behavior in there. And clients quite often ask if they have to come back for a second or a third meeting, if they can have Journey with them. Okay, so policing is very unpredictable, okay? So just so you know, I have actually 3 roles in victim services. One, I'm Journey's handler for the last 4 years. Second is I'm a long-term volunteer, and in that role, I go out to death notifications, deaths in the community. It could be suicide, it could be traffic fatality, heart attacks, whatever. There's an unexpected death in the community, and I provide emotional support and next step guidance. Journey often comes with me, but most often she comes a few days later. And the reason for that is at a scene, you have to rule out so many things. You have to rule out that the person who died in their home is a hoarder. I mean, the first time I went to a hoarder's home, I stepped on a dead possum within the first 2 minutes of being there. You have to rule out that there's another dog there aggressive, or somebody is afraid or allergic, or that it's not a drug overdose and that Journey might get some drugs in the pads of her feet and lick those drugs later on. So, and there's a zillion other things that the officer has to rule out. So if he can rule everything out during that commotion, because there's a lot of people at a scene, there's a lot of officers, there's staff sergeants. If there's a child, there's a homicide department regardless, even if they know it's not a homicide. There's probably fire, ambulance, body removals, coroner, whatever, right? So they have a lot of work to rule that out. So they'll ask us to come a couple of days later. An example was on the Me Too 4 weekend. We had a young man pass away of a heart attack here in Oakville, and he has 2 little kids, 5 and 6 years old. So we managed to make another appointment with them and come back almost a week later. And it was very exciting for me because when I arrived, the little girl was holding up a poster she had made. She had
thank you.
So, he's a wonderful dog where he didn't give up. This was sliding away, he was trying to get it, and he kept at it, but he didn't wreck it. These little tooth marks are from training, not from him. We teach them to fetch safe items, so things that I drop and I ask him to fetch. Later on, we'll teach him to ignore a few things. There are some things that I might drop I don't want him to pick up. What a good boy. Yeah. All right. After fetch, then we'll work on other skills, like maybe tugs to open doors and drawers.
Mawalan na ako ng battery.
Good job. What a good boy. So he can open a door or a drawer. You'll notice we have ties on some different items here. And later, clients can actually use that skill to help maybe take a jacket off. If you can imagine sitting at the mall and you're starting to get warm, but you can't take your own jacket off, a dog could really help you out there. You don't have to rely on somebody else or wait for somebody else to come.
Anything below 4.5, and they do that through scent. And what we use are saliva samples from clients in the area. When they're having a low, they'll chew on gauze, like dental gauze, when they run out of saliva or until they run out of saliva, and then freeze it for us. we'll go and pick it up from them, and that's what we use to train the dogs on the scent. Basically, as soon as we open that, the scent's coming out, the dogs can kind of pick up on it. We only train for lows, but the dogs usually naturally pick up on the highs because they're smellier. They're so smelly that humans can even smell them. The reason that we focus on the lows is because, one, humans can't smell them, and they're more dangerous. So that's why we focus on the lows here at Dog Guides. Moving to Freya, check. Yeah, good girl. She just kind of booped it a little bit. Yes, Freya. Yes, good girl. That's kind of what that's. There it is, good girl.
Positioning, yeah.
Yeah, good girl. You notice Julie's throws are right on the money? Practice.
At least I get one of my seizure response dogs who has completed all of her training and is ready to be matched with her future client. So what we're gonna do is show you everything that she's gonna be doing for her future best friend. Her main job is going to be to respond to her client's seizure. So, good girl. The way that we train them to do that is, I think she just burped, sorry about that, is through a physical movement is what cues her to know that her client is having a seizure. So what that usually looks like is falling down and some sort of body movement is happening. Everybody's seizures look different. Everybody's seizures last for different amounts of times. Everybody's recovery time is different, okay? So we just do a very generic sort of move. Take my medication, but my medication's upstairs. Bianca, okay. Good girl, thank you. Now I can take my meds. Good job. Good girl. So you can't see my mouth moving because of my mask, but I was just whispering help to her. Because if I really did need help, and I was able to just do, help!